basketball analysis with over 70 years combined experience. This is the Bob Ryan and Jeff Goodman Podcast. NBA.
Bob Ryan, Jeff Goodman, Gary Tanguay along for the ride, brought to you by Prize Picks, the exclusive daily fantasy partner of the CLNS Media Network. Pick more, pick less with Prize Picks. Jeff continues to be on assignment somewhere in the swamps of Carolina. We'll dig him up later on. I'm joking, folks. He will be back later on. I'm joking. Okay, Bob, let's get to the Olympics here. And the way I'm seeing things going on now with the men's basketball team, this really is the swan song for Kevin Durant and LeBron James. And that's the way it should be.
Here are some facts about the two people who brought us victory yesterday. 39-year-old LeBron James and 30-whatever-year-old Durant, okay? These two gentlemen, their career in the NBA, total points, 69,398. First team All-NBA, total, 19.
Wow.
MVPs, 5. NBA championships, 6. And combined All-Star game appearances, 34. This is a very distinguished duo. What Kevin Durant did yesterday, I mean, it defies description. Here's a guy who, he hadn't played a second. He hadn't played in 3 months. Didn't play a second with his team except for a few practices. Comes off the bench when we need him. We need somebody. We got off to a bad start against Serbia. And it winds up going 8 for 8 with 21 points in the first half, including 5 threes. I mean, and Steve Kerr then proclaimed him. He said he wasn't surprised because he's coached them those 2 championships.
Sure.
But he said reflect on this, the most skilled player I have ever seen. So we have to ask him, please define for you what that means exactly. Since he saw Michael Jordan, he's seen LeBron James, he saw Larry Bird, he saw Magic Johnson, etc. And he's declaring Durant to be the most skilled, quote unquote. And he did emphasize, and this is what I take from it, the game looks easy to him. Now,
right.
There are people
Bob, if I can jump in, to throw my 2 cents in it.
Yeah.
When I hear him say that, I'm talking about someone who's 7 feet. Like, everybody forgets Durant's 7 feet.
Yeah, he's
6'11", 7, whatever.
Oh, no,
that's when I'm like, the guy's like an inch shorter than Wilt Chamberlain or 2 or whatever.
Yeah,
and
right.
He plays like Kuzi.
He plays like a guy a foot shorter, absolutely. And
so that's what I take from it.
He glides around the court. It doesn't say he doesn't hustle.
No.
As a matter of fact, just the gospel truth for me. I watched him 2 or 3, maybe, I don't know, a few times at Texas, his 1 year in college. And the one thing that jumped out at me was his rebounding.
Yeah.
He wasn't afraid to mix it up with that skinny body that he's filled out some, but not that much. He's still a skinny body, relatively speaking. But he had that skill. But he floats around the court. He just goes from point A to point B on a cloud, and gets where he wants to go and makes the game beautiful form and the jump shot, makes the thing look easy. I think, and that's what the Kerr did go on to say, that he makes the game, look easy. And I've seen a few guys like that jumped out at me, and certainly he's one of them for that regard. So anyway, he does what he does. LeBron does what he does. LeBron leading fast breaks, getting back on defense, making plays, of course, creating plays in the half court. He is pumped. I mean, you saw that one after that one sequence.
Oh, yeah.
Chest pounding and he is so, it's really heartwarming. I mean, the guy's 39, he's gone for multiple gold medals. But wow, the two of them led us. Now, someone on X this morning said, what does this mean about the future of USA basketball if our 2 best players are 39 and 37 years old? Well, we're in good shape. Don't worry about that. But
we're fine. But the international game, I saw that too, and the point is well taken, because if you went, who are the best players or the top 5 players in the NBA today? I mean, you have guys from Canada, you have guys from Europe. I mean, it's just a fact.
I think was it 4/5 of the All NBA this year were international. The 5th was guess what?
I mean,
5th was the DNP yesterday. We're going to get to that. They had the numbers up. I should have written it down just because they posted the numbers of the number of NBA players internationally,
right,
with the Dream Team at 92, and the number today, which is over 100. And no, the game is.
Yeah,
and that,
I mean, you can thank the Dream Team for that, right?
We've had this discussion with the Dream Team.
Boris, your friend Boris.
They're the reason for it. They're the biggest reason of all for the explosion of interest in international basketball. So, the Dream Team, they're the granddaddies of them all.
Bob, but I'm okay with that. The world is like a closer place. I mean, my God, there's enough strife, there's enough pain going on in the world right now. The next time we play, if we don't have LeBron and Durant, which I don't think we will, and if the competition is a little better because of the gain of the European game, I'm not going to boo-hoo.
We have to keep up, and that's fine. And remember once again that this is their game. They've taken our game, Dr. Nesbitt's game, and reshaped it with their rules and their concepts.
Right.
And we enter into their turf when we enter into international competition.
Right.
And that's a fact. And there have been times in the last 32 years when we have stumbled in that regard.
Sure.
For that reason, that we haven't made that acknowledgement. We continue to have the edge in raw talent, but that doesn't always mean we have the edge in team play or understanding of what the game is that we're actually playing, which is international basketball, not. Meanwhile, I got to say, Serbia only had two people that you would know. Of course, Jokic and Bogdan Bogdanovic, not to be confused with the other Bogdanovic. I always get them confused. Right. But this is the one who plays for the Hawks, averaged 17 points a game last year. But obviously, they had some other guys, if you watch that game, who are very good basketball players and playing in Serbia or France or Germany or Spain or Italy, wherever the hell they are playing. But I didn't know any of these guys, but a couple of them caught your eye. And they were well coached. But I didn't know. The coach is a well-known international guy who was coached. He coached in Germany before. He's a Serb, but he coached Germany, and he's been around. He goes back his playing days in the 60s. But he's well respected. They're well coached, as was Germany. As is Germany, well coached. There's a lot of good coaching going on out there. So they're going to make us work. For sure. I still think we're going to be fine, but they're going to make us work.
Right.
But that was that was just virtuoso performance what those two guys did and what Durant did. So it was good.
The question does arise: will any of the current superstars that we see, whether it's from Dallas or Denver or Tatum or Jaylen Brown or SGA and so forth,
Anthony Edwards,
will they ever reach the level of Durant's peak? And LeBron James peak? And Bob, that's a tall order.
And throw Steph Curry in there too.
Okay.
It's funny, you wonder what was going on, why this is his first Olympics, because he's been on our radar screen for a long time now, but he wasn't a part of it in Tokyo, and I know he wasn't a part of it in either London or Beijing. So because I was there for those two, but and throw him in there. He's 36 or whatever he is.
Right.
And, no, that's exactly right. Meanwhile, we keep getting importing these great players from Europe. Now,
even Jokic, even Jokic, like those guys, like Jokic now, or the issue because of their bodies, I don't see them reigning long term, right? I mean, he's not playing at 39.
No, and he doesn't want to either. I don't think. He wants to go back to his horses. Right. He's a very interesting guy. I mean, he's very much in control of his life, but he knows how he wants to present himself to the public. He knows what he wants. He's in control. Nobody's telling him anything he doesn't want to hear. I can tell you that. No question about that. Yeah. No, he does. He's not going to beat LeBron. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
But boy, enjoy him while he's here. But we did a good job with him yesterday. Once again, I'm sorry, folks, but another indispensable man is Anthony Davis. We need him on the floor.
Well, let's talk about that, because he had to go in there down 10-2, and you then made the change.
Absolutely. that start was annoying because once again it was turnover produced.
Right.
It was turnover stuff. I got it here. I got some notes here. Sloppy again. 2 turnovers, and when it was 10-2. Davis enters, and first thing that happened when Curry hit that 3 in the guy's face that got us started. And the other guy that came off and did a nice job was Booker. And I'm sure that's the guy that Jaylen Brown has targeted. Why him and not me? Is Booker. I'm just thinking. That's me out loud.
Yeah, I was thinking
I can't prove that.
I was thinking about and I want to get to Jayson Tatum next too.
Yeah, we'll get there.
And it's very easy for me to have this point of view because I'm not them. But I just look at this as LeBron and Durant swan song, and and maybe Steph too. Good for them. I hope they enjoy it. They deserve it. They're going to win the gold medal. And if this is like a moment of international appreciation for those 2 or 3 guys, that's great. There's nothing better during the summer than experiencing a sunny afternoon at the ballpark, or maybe a nice summer evening, catching a ball game live in person, not streaming, not on your phone, not on the radio, not on the TV. I remember driving down from Maine every summer. It was a big deal. We get tickets to see the Red Sox at Fenway Park. And I just remember seeing the green grass as you'd walk up through the tunnel. It was like heaven. And I want you to have the same feeling. So go download the Gametime app and go see a game. Gametime is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, so it's really easy to use. You can get your tickets faster and easier. Plus, as you get closer to the first pitch, the prices on Gametime actually go down. They have killer last-minute deals. They have the lowest price guarantee, and you can check out the view from your seats. Now, it's really easy. You just go to your phone, you download the Gametime app, you scan it, and you can see there are great seats to the Sox and the Yankees, or if you want that down-home minor league feeling, you can go see the Woo Sox or your favorite minor league club that's close to you. I go to Worcester and Polo Park. It is a great place to take the family to see a game. Very economical, too. Plus, Gametime also has great deals on the New England Revolution and Patriot preseason games. You can get last-minute deals and save up to 60% off on sports, concerts, comedy, and theater. You can save even more when you choose the section and you let Gametime choose the seats. You always get the lowest price guarantee, or Gametime will credit 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app today, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. I was thinking, in my head, I said, what would I be telling Jaylen Brown right now? And I would be telling Jaylen, look, you won the MVP for the finals. You won the MVP for the Eastern Conference. You won an NBA championship. Everybody thinks you should be there. You'll get your shot. You're going to be there in 4 years. And it's just about LeBron and KD right now. Even Tatum. Tatum didn't play, he got a DNP. And it also shows why Steve Kerr wanted Derek White instead of Jaylen Brown, how he's using him, right?
Yes.
Actually, Kerr is actually coaching this team. Right? He's actually coaching them. But like Jayson Tatum, it's all good, kid. Easy for me to say.
Well, Kerr says he talked to him, let him know, and that he was, quote, very professional, unquote.
I'm sure he
was. Promised him he's playing tomorrow against South Sudan.
Yeah.
And we'll see. But he didn't answer instead of whom. Yeah, we'll see. But it's but you have to buy his explanation that it was about matchups. Number one, he wanted 3 big guys out there for Jokic to rotate, and Tatum is not considered to be a muscle guy. He's a smash guy. Okay, and 2, that is only so many people can play in a 40-minute game as opposed to a 48.
Well, that's another thing I was pointing. And another thing here, Bob, is that back to my original point is no matter, as Celtic fans, we love Tatum and we should, but Tatum is not Kevin Durant or LeBron James. He's just not.
No,
I don't know who else is.
No, well, no, he's a terrific player. And but if you're going to grade them, and he's the next level. It's the second level.
The next level.
It's high level, but you're right. He's not LeBron James or or Durant, and no one should hold him to that standard. So
I just wonder, when I see Durant play like this, I just rue the day he went to Brooklyn. I was like, man, just like lost years of a great player. I think he's a misunderstood guy. I think all that matters to him is basketball. He seemed to get a little cantankerous, but yet he just loves to play basketball. And I always will feel bad for Kevin Durant that he lost those years in Brooklyn.
Yeah, well, but people aren't going to feel sorry for him that still are not happy that he muscled in with the Warriors, out of OKC.
Right.
And, people, it's where we're living in. You can't win. There's almost nothing you can do. You're not going to have somebody criticizing you in public if you're a public person for something. And he's got that one. That's the black mark on his resume in the eyes of some people. Not most.
I know. I'm like, get over it. The guy, you can't win. It's like LeBron took less money to go to Miami to win a title, and people say he abandoned Cleveland. He took less money, people, and he wanted to win a championship.
Well, and LeBron, how long did it take so many people to get over the decision?
Oh,
and that was in 2010, folks.
Oh God,
the decision.
I know. And it was ill. He shouldn't have done it. I mean, if that's the worst thing you can ever say about a guy, I mean, please.
His defense was, that it was done at the boys' club for a reason. They were going to raise a little money of some consciousness on the boys' club or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, no, he's admitted that it was a misstep. I'll just say that. And now, my God,
get over it. Now, let's talk about Anthony Davis. Why is he fitting in so well?
He is just so damn good. People, I think we've had this discussion during the course of the year, and I know I've heard it during the course of the season. You kind of forget how great he is. You kind of forget sometimes. We're playing with LeBron now. I don't know. For some reason, people he has entered into the take for granted category about, and that's that. People, he's a multi-skilled guy at 6'11". He's been reminding us during these Olympic venture about his defense, his shot blocking intimidation. But he's got the complete package. He can hit a three. He can post up. He can run. He can defend. He's a damn good player, and he's been a defensive force from what I've seen, and he can do what he wants to do. So he's to me, he's proving his worth in this venture, this Olympic.
Well,
venture.
It's nice to see, because you sit there and you realize, or you recognize, that if the guy wasn't hurt all the time, what you'd have.
Yeah, I go back to the championship that he won in Kentucky. He was 0 for 10 that night, and he was best player on the floor.
Yeah,
I swear to God.
Yeah, no,
and that goes everything else he did, so no, he's just not getting the full recognition. He probably never will, unless somehow he continues to dominate to the point where people have to pay attention to him now.
Well, he's got to win a title. I mean, that's what happens now, Bob.
Yeah,
for unfair in the NBA. If you want to be on the Mount Rushmore, Tatum is going to fit in there somehow. So isn't Jaylen Brown, because they won a title. Yeah. It's just the way it is, and Durant fortunately won a couple, so he's good. But if Davis doesn't,
well, it's interesting. By the way, you did see the cover of the new Sports Illustrated. You're aware of it? It's a 70th anniversary issue. It was in 1954 in August that the first copy of Sports Illustrated came out, with Eddie Matthews at the plate in Milwaukee County Stadium on the night game.
Hank Aaron?
No, Eddie Matthews.
Oh, Eddie Matthews.
Eddie Matthews is at bat. I have a copy here, right here in this file cabinet to my immediate left. Thank God, I've got a copy of that magazine, and but it's and Jayson Tatum's on the cover, and it's about.
Oh, I've seen that. That I've seen. Yes,
it's out. It's now out.
Yeah,
came in my mailbox yesterday, or one of these days. So anyway, we got that. Okay. Jayson Tatum.
I want to ask you something else, Bob, before we go. But I got to talk. We got to talk about Derek White. When White was put on the team, we were all thinking, well, what about Jaylen Brown? And Brown could have been put on the team, but now you understand why. I mean, Jaylen certainly could have filled the role that I think White is filling. I mean, I know he's not the same type of player, but Kerr loves the guy because he's going and he's playing defense and he's doing all those little things, and that's why they put him on the team.
Dwayne Wade was so enraptured by him yesterday in his broadcast that he pointed out his shot blocking and pointed out statistically he's the best shot blocking guard in the league, and the numbers are there, and we saw it with our eyes to know that that is an accurate reflection of the season that he had. But Wade not Eagle, what's his name? The young Mr. Eagle, Iron Eagle's son, his son, I figured his name already, the broadcaster. He said, well, you were a great shot blocking guard, weren't you? Well, yes, he said, but one difference is what difference? He said he said he doesn't jump that high in weight, that he jumped higher, his about
right.
I don't know how high he does or doesn't jump.
It doesn't matter because
he said it's his timing and his anticipation and his intelligence, he said, that make him it was very high praise from an Hall of Famer, and very nice for Dirk White. No, he's already proven he belongs. There's no question about it. Yeah. So that's
but
nice.
I definitely I'm happy for him. I know Jaylen Brown is too. But Jaylen will definitely get his.
I don't know what they're saying, by the way, in Indianapolis and in the state of good Hoosier State about the exclusion of Haliburton.
He's not getting a lot of time.
But Haliburton, in general, has now become the 12th man on this team. It's very obvious. He's the guy. He's become the garbage time guy. So,
Kerr's not messing around. At least you got to say.
Well, he better win. He's got the best roster.
Right. I mean, at least Kerr's like, okay, we're here to win. This isn't. We're not the Globetrotters.
Right. Right. By the way, our next game opponent is interesting. Who would have thought? Who would have thought a month ago that we would have reason to have an interest in a game against South Sudan? Right? No one would have dreamed it. I would have thought it would be a replay of all those 92 40-point victories. And it might be. Because, boy, are these guys going to have a motivation. Our team should have lost to them. I mean, could easily have lost to them.
Right.
Took a driving layup by LeBron for the winning basket with 8 seconds to go, and then sweating out very good looks that they had to win the game anyway. So we were a 1-point victor over the newest nation on earth. Let's get that down for geopolitics, okay? South Sudan, in a country which, of course, Sudan's and the Sudan is, of course, having more turmoil. What's new, right? It's a troubled area of the world, no question. Anyway, that we enter a game against South Sudan with a conceivable revenge motive. Wow. But you know what? Good for them, and that what they're doing, and good for Coach Royal Ivey, a name that might be familiar to you you college basketball fans. University of Texas, I believe, played for Tommy Penders, if I'm not mistaken. So, but I'll be looking forward, to that game and to see how we do. And
Royal Ivey is one of the best names ever in sports.
Wonderful. So there we go. So we're going to have.
What are your thoughts? And we do. I do want to get to the USA. I do women's Olympic basketball in general.
Yeah.
I just love the backdrop of Paris for the Olympics. There's just something about having the Olympics in a European city. And I know that Boston tried to get them, and I was like, great, if Boston can pull it off, fantastic. Didn't work out. But there's something about the winter and the summer games in Europe that just is the Eiffel Tower, just the whole thing is just.
Well, it's pain. I mean, France, they tried to take full advantage of that with the opening ceremony, the way it was on the Seine, and went by all the iconic places, including Notre Dame, which still hasn't got the scaffolding down yet. It's coming along. And the Place de la Concorde and the Louvre, and of course, ending up at the Eiffel Tower, and of course, was a coup. Oh, no, not many cities could do that. And, there's all the controversy about that Last Supper thing, which is really ridiculous. The controversy is legit. That was a stupid thing.
Yeah, I just heard a little bit about it today.
I don't know. But no, that's awful. Bad judgment. But some of the other stuff was really what I did see. I didn't see it for some reason. I was occupied, but I did see a lot of the other things. And the dancing was great, and Lady Gaga was great, and Celine Dion was great, and all the stuff. They did a lot of really cool things to pull that off. And we're going to have a backdrop of the. This great. I'm a Paris. I'm a Francophile. Okay, I've been to Paris 19 times, so I'm kind of proprietary toward Paris. So that's that. But yeah, it's nice to have it. It's nice having it there. And but as far as us not having it, I was much in favor of it in an aesthetic way, but I'm not ignorant of the financial burden. I'm not ignorant of the IOC's arrogance and the what it means to have Olympics. It should be a better deal than it is, but it's been allowed to get totally, I won't say corrupted, but distorted. Okay, how's that? And
right.
And it does cost too much money, and there's too many silly things that go along thanks to the IOC's arrogance. And it shouldn't be that way, but unfortunately, and that they have a hard time finding people that want to take it now for that reason.
I know, and I just sit back and I forget about all of that. I want to look at the pretty pictures.
Yeah. Well, so you'll have
and one more thing, I just have to say, because I'm a big advocate of the awareness of mental health in this country, especially after going through what we went through with COVID. But Simone Biles, my daughter, it was a gymnast. My wife watches it. I don't know anything about it, but like I just had to watch. I mean, the beam. I don't know anything. I mean, when my daughter's done it, I just know you don't want to fall off. I watched her on the beam and I went, she's got to be like the greatest athlete of all time. How do you do that? I mean,
she's amazing. She's the greatest bundle of energy ever. She's 4'8", and she's an extraordinary athlete. You cannot have enough superlatives. You need the thesaurus. You can't do it with your normal.
No, I mean, she says, describe how great she takes herself out of the games, and then she gets herself right. She gets help. Yep. People need to do mentally and physically. You need to address the needs of your body and of your mind, and then she comes back better than ever. And I'm like, wow.
Well, if that isn't an inspiration for people who would be in need of it, I don't know what would be.
Yeah, that's it, man. I mean,
she's phenomenal. I mean, I'm not a biggest, I don't know the nuances. One of my best friends is a former gymnastics coach, and I know he's reveling in this, watching these gymnastics, but I just don't, thank God John Powers is there for us because he gets it. And Tara Sullivan, I think, gets it for the Boston Globe. And John Powers, of course, one of the preeminent Olympic writers anybody's ever had in America, is still on our payroll. Thank God he's there to pay proper homage to this. I know from as a writing standpoint, when you're confronted with something like this, it's got to raise your game. So that's why I felt about writing about Larry all those years. I was inspired. I better bring my A game. Because you got to do it for and with her, you got to bring your A+++ game. So good luck, writers, trying to describe her.
I mean, Powers is amazing, but he's a Hall of Famer. He's one of the, and when we mention the Globe guys, because he covered the Olympics, sometimes we forget to mention him just because he didn't do the Patriots or the Celtics or the Bruins, but he's right there with all the guys on the
He succeeded me on the Celtics, directly in 1976. And
I didn't know that.
And 2 years, and he got a book out of it. Good for him. Short season, got a book out of it, and he introduced nuances to the notes, including his favorite restaurant of the week. Only John, it could combine the culinary arts with basketball. Yes, restaurant of the week, and on a national scale, and he's priceless. He's one of the great treasures the Globe's ever had, or anyone's ever had journalistically. But he's still going strong. He's like the LeBron James now of writing. I mean, he's way past his shelf life and theory, but not so, baby.
Oh yeah,
he's still got it. Bringing that A game.
And as we close, you have a historical nugget involving the women's game.
In 1992, when I went to my first Olympics, and I was a wide open mind, and I covered men and women, and naturally the women were the afterthought, frankly, to the dream team. But I was there for all their games and practices and so forth. And they were favored. And they were kicking butt all around. Until they met the team from the then newly crowned EUN. This is after the breakup of the Soviet Union. And the women of the former Soviet Union were representing several of the republics that had constituted the Soviet Union. And they all were facing uncertain personal futures about what their country was going to be like, or whether it's going to be there, or what the hell. And they were absolutely a unit, because you hear this phrase, we did this, you'll have somebody say, we just did this for the women, the people in this room. You hear that if there's some athletic conquests, right? Well, if there ever was a group of athletes who did what they were about to do for themselves and themselves only, it was a group of women coached by Alexander Gomelski's younger brother. Gomelski was the men's coach, and his younger brother was the women's coach. And they were up against the favorite Americans, and they put on a clinic of dissection on offense. They just played a magnificent game and beat the USA team, and coached by Teresa Grantz, and shocked the basketball world. And it was one of the most inspiring. I mean, I wasn't saying I wasn't rooting. I was rooting for us, of course, but I admired what was going on and what they had accomplished, and that stuck as one of my all-time Olympic highlights. Number one. Now let me just fast forward 4 years for the Americans in '96. Don't worry, redemption. We talked about the men's redeem team in another way. Well, redemption was on the docket for the USA women in '96, and they put a team together. They assembled the team in '95, and they had an exhibition extravaganza to the point of over 50 some games, and until finally they get to the gold medal game against Brazil in Atlanta, with the largest crowd then ever to see a women's basketball game at that time, in the dome, and
Georgia Dome.
Yeah, and they buried them 111-87. But they may have, and I remember thinking, this is a team that just won like 60 in a row, may have saved their best for last. They were just magnificent. We're talking about a team with Lisa Leslie, who I still think is the best post player woman we've ever known, and Cheryl Swoops and company, that group. And and the ubiquitous, right to this moment, she's probably on the air as we speak, Dawn Staley was, of course, the point guard of that team. Later would, of course, go on to coach us as well. And she's the reigning coach in champion South Carolina Gamecocks, undefeated this year. Right. She's on NBC now, every night. And I'm proud to say I wrote about her during as the best point guard in the world. I anointed her over, and at that time. But anyway, they were a redemption team, and they won under Tara Vanderveer, who, by the way, was still with us coaching right through this year. And so that's so my first two experiences in the Olympics very much were impressed and made meaningful by our USA women's basketball and the EUN. Never forget those wonderful women from the EUN.
Yeah, I'm putting you on the spot. Did anybody chronicle where the women went after?
I'm sure everybody. I know at least one of them. I know went to the NBA, WNBA, or initial. She's a very good player. I'm trying to think of the name now, but I can't.
Right. Okay. But
I know there was some. They had Ukrainians. They had Uzbekistan. They had Georgia. They had Russian. There were Russians, pure Russians. But it was just. But that's what their banner that year was EUN. The unified team, because we no longer had a Soviet Union. Yeah.
Bob, great stories as always, my friend. Excellent stuff. Excellent stuff. All right, we'll talk to you again soon. We are brought to you by Prize Picks, as always, the exclusive daily fantasy partner of the CLNS Media Network. Pick more, pick less. Prize Picks. For Bob Ryan, I'm Gary Tanguay. We'll see you next time.